So hello and welcome to our webinar. The topic of this webinar is different from the previous one. Today we're going to look at knowledge-based chatbots powered by generative AI, still with the purpose of empowering knowledge workers. So this one is really about how corporates can leverage this technology today and get some value. First of all, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stéphane Monselier. I'm the CEO and founder of System in Motion. And the one thing you need to remember is the last page, the last line on this page, is that I got my degree in artificial intelligence in 1993. So the topic of artificial intelligence is not something I picked up recently. But what I've realized recently that the new technology that we're looking at, generative AI, is really something unique. And in the entire history of artificial intelligence, we're living in a time that is really interesting. And this time, we believe, is the time of really stepping into the 21st century. So looking for references on the topic, we found that Peter Drucker, the grandfather of the modern management, wrote a book in 1999 about the challenges for management in the 21st century. And he predicted that the 21st century, the main asset of companies will be the productivity of knowledge worker. And in the same book, in the same paragraph, he explained that the 20th century has been about manual worker productivity, people working with their hands and people working with things. But now the real challenge is people working with their brains and people working with knowledge, with information. So this productivity with knowledge worker, we think that the technology is coming exactly at the right time for this to happen, and that the true benefit of generative AI is empowering knowledge worker, being more efficient in the way they process knowledge and the way they process information. We often get the question, what is the best AI tool? Problem is, there are way too many AI tools today. So my new favorite website that you can see on the top left is toolify.ai. I just took a screenshot 10 minutes ago. It referenced 19,709 AI tools. Nobody can look at them. So my guess is that that website is fully automated and is just scraping the web for tools. But there are just too many of them. The others have been put together manually. So this is a testimony to how powerful the AI is. But there's a big chance that most of these tools, 99.9% of these tools, are not going to survive. They may have raised a little bit of money, or maybe they put it together and bootstrap it. So companies need to be really, really careful choosing the AI tool that you want to implement. Deploying any tool in a company is an investment. It's a change management investment. It's a money, time investment. And lost into that ocean of AI tool is extremely difficult. Of course, System in Motion, system service company, we're here to help companies. And we really want people to understand that it's really difficult and the dust hasn't settled on what the technology can do and which tool is the best tool because there are way too many. Now, how do we use it? We always start with ourselves. We're here to give advice and we're here to provide services, but we really like to go back to how we've been embracing generative AI in the company. Me being the CEO of System in Motion, I use it a lot for strategy. That's the first paragraph. Supporting brainstorming. Now I can do brainstorming minus sales. On the sales side, designing proposal, reviewing documents, analyzing customer requirements, reviewing B2B proposal, impersonating customer to kind of role play with the AI to see how this customer would react to this proposal. On the HR side, so our HR officer is one of the power users in the company. There are some very obvious use cases in HR, which are job description and such. We actually go way deeper than that. We go to performance reviews, metric skills, and things that are way much more complex that requires to process way much more information. Our consultants use it for workshop facilitation, summarizing a meeting from a meeting transcript, organizing notes, and for the output documents, coming out with the content and organizing the information. For internal training, so in the demo, the second part of this presentation is going to be a demo of the solution. You will see a lot of training-related use cases. On the marketing side, there's a whole industry of AI-powered marketing by AI, creating white papers, creating job posts, pictures, video, animations. All these topics are very trendy, and we use it. And if you follow our accounts on social media, you will see that help us to produce more content faster, hopefully better, or at least not worse. Analysis, finance. We've started a series on LinkedIn on use cases on finance because there are a lot. There are a lot of ways to help with the analysis and help with the literature part of the finance, which is writing documentation, writing annual report, or writing analysis in English or in Chinese about financial topics. And on the legal side, we don't recommend anybody to generate a contract from scratch, from nothing with generative AI. But for existing contracts, for comparison, for discrepancies, for impact analysis or risk analysis, there are a lot of very good use cases for the legal field. So the first thing, and this is a topic of our trainings. So we sell a series of training. At the heart of our training is the art of prompt, because the art of prompt is what we believe is a mandatory skill for the 21st century worker. Everybody will need prompt. It doesn't matter if you're in IT management, middle management, executive, if you're in HR, if you're in finance. At some point, you will need to be able to write decent prompt if you want to leverage generative AI. There will be tools that are going to help you. There will be integration that are going to help you. But if you know how to prompt, that means you understand how the technology is working. And you're not going to be surprised, and you're not going to suffer from misusing generative AI. And the best way to make sure it happens is to educate yourself. Yeah. So the art of prompt, throughout all of our training, we've came down and optimize one very simple framework that we teach and that we use also every day, that we call the ERCFC framework. This is the way we structure most of our prompts, making sure that all those elements are present. So role means you have to give a role. GPT is extremely good at role playing and all the other LLMs. You need to give context. We call that sometimes the Monday 9 a.m. morning rule. Whenever you open GPT, it's like an intern coming into a company on Monday morning for their internship at 9 a.m. They don't know anything. They don't know which day it is. They don't know the weather. They don't know who you are. They don't know what the company is doing. And it's extremely valuable to give context. And usually the way to improve the output is to give more context. Formats, this is to save time for the user. If you need an email, ask for an email. If you need bullet points, ask for bullet points. If you need 100 words, ask for 100 words. So formatting will save a lot of time for the user to know exactly how's the information will be used and what is the output needed to just copy it and paste for its usage. And command must be extremely clear. Prompt engineering is about giving orders to the machine, giving instruction. So you give this instruction in French, Italian, Spanish, German, Japanese, Chinese, Thai, Russian, but it doesn't matter. You're talking to a machine and you want to give this instruction. So the command has to be crystal clear. What do you want the machine to achieve? And finally, example. So this is an optional part of the framework. It's sometimes easier to show a similar outputs that you want than to describe it. In that case, we're going to use an example. So by following the RCFC framework, our students, people who join our trainings, get way better results. They get a better understanding on the technology and how they can use it, and it's making them more productive for small tasks, for big tasks, and it's the first step into that learning on integrating and bringing AI into the company. So this is the first step. This is actually the second step. Yeah. At the company level, in order to really benefit from generative AI, companies have to build what we call the generative AI value stack. And it starts by knowledge management. Companies have tons of documents. It's usually not well managed, at least the company that we've seen. And this is a first area where generative AI can use. The out of the prompt is a second layer, use cases, individual tasks that people in a company, knowledge worker, should know how to accelerate and execute faster. Then those tasks can be chained into workflows. So a knowledge worker will use generative AI for task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get that productivity gain is amplified by the fact that it's used several times and sometimes different AI. The next area of creating value is what we call AI transformation, is when we can integrate the old tech with the new tech. So when generative AI has access not only to documents, but also to databases, to systems, to APIs, and we really bring the technology inside the information system. So my favorite part of the value stack is generating new business model. So you cannot generate a new business model if you haven't gone for the first 4 layers. And at that point, we will be able to generate business model that were not possible 2 years ago because generative AI didn't exist. Yeah. So very quickly, the purpose of knowledge management is to take care of all these documents that have been accumulated. The fact that without a good system of knowledge management in a company, sometimes information is lost, sometimes very difficult to find, or people don't get the latest release. Generative AI is also very good at lowering the overload of employees. When there is too much information and employees cannot find what they want, that overload is really difficult. And people are scared actually in organization of doing the wrong things because they don't have the right knowledge. Generative AI can summarize that and make it easy for employees to find, process, and make sure they're using the right information. And finally, tacit knowledge. This is a very common problem in companies. Some knowledge is just in brains, and it's just exchanged orally in the meeting. By recording the meetings, getting a transcript and the meeting notes through generative AI, it's way much easier to capture that tacit knowledge, make it explicit, and make it part of the knowledge base. We've already seen the art of prompt. So second, this is an example of a workflow. How can somebody, a knowledge worker, design a white paper in 6 easy steps? First step, based on the documents, based on industry trend and report, extract a few topics that are interesting. Step number 2, generate an outline. Step number 3, flesh out every single paragraph by generating text, reviewing it, proofread the result, generate a cover, and finally find a good title that will make that white paper clickbait on the internet. So again, using several types of AI for several different use cases. When they are chained like this in a workflow, they can really accelerate the production of a white paper. We estimate 40 or 60% gain of productivity into a task like this. Next, on the generative AI value stack is the AI transformation. This is where we put the brains and the machines together, and we find the best way for the new technology to interact with the old technology. And finally, business canvas. So this is an example of a new business model that we create by using generative AI. By using a series of prompts, we can design a business canvas in 10 minutes. For somebody who know what they are talking about, somebody who really know the industry. It only takes 10 minutes to fill in a business canvas. So in 1 hour, you can generate 6. They're not all wonderful ideas, but through the quantity, you can get to quality if you know your industry and if you know what you're looking at. So this is how we see the construction of value inside companies by getting generative AI, fix the knowledge management, train people for individual productivity, optimize workflows, integrate with the old technology, and finally, being able to put new business models on the market and beat the competition at that stage. In order to do that, there's a big issue that companies are starting to face and will face, which is the data privacy issue. And there are four areas of issues that can happen for companies. So the first one, when using generative AI, is the leakage of confidential information. Second one is the bypass of data access control, so meaning companies have a way today to protect their data. Sometimes by putting generative AI, that is completely bypassed, and people who are not supposed to see information will start to see it. Local compliance and regulation. Every company needs to be compliant, and when they try to choose a global solution, it's difficult to know if it's compliant with every regulation. And finally, access to the source of information. It's kind of the opposite of the data privacy issue. It's how can employees make sure that whatever the generative AI has given them is the truth, is factual, and that they can rely on this information to move on. Because when you accelerate, you have very short time to go and have critical thinking. So we need to ensure, and we need to give tools for employees to trust the system and make sure the information has been properly sourced. Yeah. So confidential data leakage. The term that is starting to emerge in the industry is called shadow AI. So whenever an employee is using an AI system that is outside of the company, there is a risk that corporate data will get leaked outside of that company. And depending on which tool the employee is using, is it a free tool, is it a paid tool, where is it hosted, you have data retention issue, but you even have data management issue. And in some cases, free tools, they're going to use this data that is supposed to be proprietary and is supposed to be confidential. They're going to use it to train their next model. And this is usually the case, not always, but it's usually the case for free AI tools that employee can access freely because they are on internet, and they can access them for free, so they don't need budget, they don't need approval. So using AI tools that have not been vetted can lead to unknowingly open the floodgates to several data breaches. So this is a typical quote that the chief security officer could come out with to illustrate that problem. Second problem, bypass data access control. So companies spend a lot of money into their cybersecurity to prevent data access from the outside, but also data access from the inside. So very confidential, sensitive information is segmented from different departments, different countries, different functions. And there's a risk that if we put AI on top of that, the AI will have access to everything. And anybody who gets access to that AI will suddenly get access to information that they are not supposed to have access directly. Yeah. So unauthorized data access is a risk that companies need to be aware of when they deploy AI widely in their company. There's another issue that is called prompt injection, where if the security is not strong enough, by kind of discussing with the AI and you could convince the AI to give you information that you're otherwise not supposed to have. Yeah. So designing AI application is a delicate balance between security and features and efficiency. This is something that is we already see a few cases coming out. This is something to consider very, very carefully. Local compliance and regulation. So we limited ourselves to the nationwide, so big regulation that came out. So from Europe, UK, China, and US. More and more are coming. There's the famous bill that is being discussed in California right now on managing AI. But these are coming really fast. So for any business operating in any country, they need to be aware that there are AI laws and a lot more are coming. And being compliant with all these laws it can be an issue. Yeah. And finally, access to the source of information. So training an AI with a ton of information is great in terms of features. It can be very, very powerful, but the ability to go back to the source of the information is not always possible. And I will explain to you why in a few minutes. And that can lead to two types of issues. Number one, we see already a lot of cases of the big AI company being sued by copyright owners, saying that you stole. So there's of course, the New York Times article is the most famous one against OpenAI. New York Times said you stole copyrighted information. You're not supposed to have access to it. You didn't pay for the right to train your model with our confidential information. That's the second one. That's the more dramatic one, where you have a lawsuit that is active right now in the US. When you bring that inside a company where everybody is operating with company information that belongs to the company, The problem is to make sure that whatever output you get, whatever result of analysis, relies on information that is the right information, and that there was no confusion, that the AI didn't get confused with the documents that were used to produce that analysis. So these are the 4 issues that we see whenever AI comes into a company. So for this, we recommend, we have specific recommendation for AI infrastructure and how companies should build their AI infrastructure. And it comes down to 2 very important decisions. The first one is on the AI implementation, and the second one is on knowledge management. So first one, let's start with a very simple picture representation of the world. On the left side, you have a company, and that company has proprietary knowledge. And that knowledge is protected by a wall in the middle. You can call it a firewall if you want, that protects it from anybody coming from outside the company and getting this information. Now, outside in the wild on the internet, you have companies like Google, OpenAI, Alibaba, Baidu, all these companies, Kim Moonshot, they are training their models. So they are supposed to train their model on public knowledge. So they supposedly train their foundation models on the entire quantity of information that is available on the internet, the public one, and then some private one that get them into trouble. So then that foundation model, so GPT, Kimi, Gemini, has been trained on publicly available information, but of course not on your company proprietary knowledge. So this is our starting point, and this is where we want to find a way to use the information on the left with the model on the right. So the first way of using it, it's what we call one-shot AI. So you're inside the company and you're using GPT or Gemini. You send a prompt to the internet, the model will answer and give you your answer. That's great. Nothing bad happened. You ask for a simple task, write a job description for a marketing manager, you get an answer. This answer has only used the publicly available knowledge, because this is the only thing that the foundation model has been trained with. This one is fine. But quite often, and usually very quickly, something else happens. The employee inside the company, they're going to use a piece of information from company proprietary knowledge and put it in their prompt. Maybe they're going to copy a paragraph or maybe an entire contract. Maybe they will take a company confidential contract, copy and paste because they're working on it, and ask the model to fix the mistakes. And then what happens is now you can see on the right side, there's a small blue square. What does it mean? That means some company proprietary information has been transferred outside of the security of the company and is now on the internet. And if you're using a free model, that blue information may be used the same way that all the public information has been used to train the next version of the model. And this is what we want to avoid. And this is what we call shadow IT. So whenever an employee is using a model for free or even paying for it, there's a risk that company proprietary knowledge gets out despite the best effort of the company cybersecurity team. So what's the solution to that? The solution to that is to do the opposite. To make sure that the information doesn't get out of the company and in the World Wide Web on the internet, we bring the model inside. So our recommendation for all our customers is bring the foundation AI model into your company information system. So that means put it in your private cloud, put it on premise if you have your own data center, but bring the model from outside to inside. Because once it's been trained, you don't need the public information. It's already encoded somehow into the model. So when you do that, then the employee can ask that some company call it their corporate GPT. So the employee can ask the corporate GPT a question. That model can access proprietary information, send back the answer, and the proprietary information stays inside the company. So all that blue, sensitive, and very valuable information is not transferred without control onto the internet. So this is the first important decision on AI infrastructure for company. Bring your models inside. The second decision is how are we going to get that foundation model to use company proprietary knowledge. So first, we're going to go back to how those models are trained. So to make it extremely simple, you have an empty model. You take a very large data set, so let's say the internet, and then you process all this to have a trained foundation model. So that's how, again, very, very schematic and very simplified. This is how GPT has been trained. This is how they all train. With very large data set, that's what they are called LLM, large language model, because the data set is very large. Now, this takes a lot of time. This typically takes weeks. It costs tens, if not millions of dollars, and it's a very complex process. So that's why very few companies around the world are able to produce those high-quality foundation models. Now, those models are very generic, multi-purpose, and they're also very fast. I mean, relatively fast, because once the model is trained, you just need to query the model. It doesn't matter that they've been trained on billions of documents. The model is just the model. You ask a question to the model, and the model replies. Now, how can we go from this model that is completely generic to a model that knows about your company and is able to process your company information? One solution is called fine-tuning. So what is fine-tuning? It's similar to train new model, but we don't start from the very beginning. So we use a model that has been trained, but fine-tuning is it's like when you tune a musical instrument. You adjust it slightly so that it will take into account additional information. So you can start with your own documents, so what we call a knowledge base, all part of the documents that you have and you manage in your company. These sets of documents get you to create a small specialized data set. So if it's as large as the original one, it will take you the same amount of time, and you better start from the beginning. So it's usually small, specialized. So you process those documents, man a small data set, and there's a way to adjust the model so that it takes into account all this new information. And you get something that is called a fine-tuned model. That is faster than starting from an empty model. It takes a few hours, typically. It is cheaper. Now, we're not in the millions of dollars, but we're more in $100,000. It's simpler. The process is actually simpler. Most models have that capability of doing fine-tuning, and there are tools to do that. Now you have a specialized model. It's now a single purpose because you specialize the model. So now it has all this information, and it's as fast as the original model. So when you ask a question, you get the answer exactly the same way. Yeah. But this is not our recommendation, because the problem is you still have a high cost, because you have to take your documents, you have to pre-process them, and the processing is still takes some hours. So in companies, documents are created every hour or even every 10 minutes. So the scale of fine-tuning is usually not good for company knowledge management. Yeah. So we do something that we call knowledge-based AI, which we're going to demonstrate in a few minutes. So first of all, there's no pre-processing. So we start from a knowledge base, which starts from a set of documents. And instead of changing the model, we just do what is sometimes called embedding or indexing. We let the model read and understand all those documents. And then they will kind of take notes somewhere. It's called a vector database. So the model will read the document and take notes in the internal language of the model, to make it simple. So that will make it very efficient for the model to organize the information in a semantic way. So when you will interact with this model, you can ask a question or you can give a task, and the model will be able to find your source document very, very fast and use all this information as if it was part of the model. So the advantages of this way of processing, so first, it's fast. It's actually very fast. So a new document, if it's not too big, will be processed in a few minutes. So if you have a new document and you want to use it in your next task, a few minutes later, it's going to be available. It's cheaper. It costs a few dollars for documents. So if you have 1 million documents, then of course that's going to ramp up. But for reasonable size document, that can be that can be cheaper. It can be fully automated, meaning there is no need to transform all your documents into something that the model can understand for fine-tuning. So, and with you will see in the we've fully automated the processing of a lot of types of documents and still working on that. At the end, so what you have at the end, the model by itself is still the foundation model that you purchase from a model provider. But what the model you're going to use are these three components together. So it's the generative AI model, your base of documents, and the index. It's multimodal, so you can use it for different formats, for voice, for text, for video. But the most important part in this setup, the model is able to quote sources. Because because we made that link between the model, the index, and the documents, you can ask for real quotes. With a foundation model and with a fine-tuned model, you can never ask for the sources. The original information is not stored inside the model. No model can tell you where they get their information from. Somehow it's related to the way they've been done, they've been processed, but it's mainly due to the fact that the quantity of information is way too big, and there's no way for those models to recover the information. So this is the second important documentation, the decision in IT infrastructure. How do you process the company's knowledge in combination with generative AI? And our recommendation for most use cases, there are exceptions, they happen, but for most companies who want to go into generative AI and have a simple problem of like a set of documents that are already too many for humans to really memorize, executing tasks on them and leveraging generative AI, we believe this is the best of both worlds, especially because of the ability of quoting its sources. Yeah. So this is what we do with companies. This is the methodology that we go through with people who join us in our AI accelerator or through transformation project, AI transformation projects. We get to assess the readiness of these companies, mainly on the digitalization side and their document management. We get them to deploy their first infrastructure. Then we train a few champions that are going to be the business people who are going to train their colleagues, and they're going to be the ambassador of AI inside the company. Then something strange happened, and we define objectives and KPIs only that late in the project, because people need to be trained, and they need to be trained. For them to be trained, we need to have the infrastructure in place, and we need to have indexed at least part of the document. And then only then, business people, business users are able to process a few use cases. Then they can define their roadmap, integrate with their existing information system, and fully automate the workflow. So with a small and medium-sized company, we're able to run that process in 1 month and get them from they roughly know what is generative AI to having generative AI inside their company. So these are the key elements for you to understand the demo. So now we're going to move to the fun part that I will give to my colleague to understand the foundation of what we're building and what we're going to show you, what we mean by knowledge base, generative AI, and chatbot. So Lulu, if you can introduce yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Lulu. I'm a business analyst of System in Motion, and I'm in charge of create training content for our company. So during this process, I find out that we've got tons of documents that need to process, and they're on all sort of stuff. And some of them are really technical and really time-consuming to read word by word. So since it's very hard to digest, AIN is a very good choice to improve the efficiency for reading all the information and extract the key information. And it gives us the key points for training and help us to hit the important topics and making sure we are on the right track and didn't ignore everything. So the next, I will introduce 3 cool features for creating training. And the first feature is training plan generation. This one is based on the knowledge base information to create a detailed training plan tailored to the select topics and the given time period. For example, the trainer only need to input the selected topics. In this command will be the AIN products, and the time period will be the 4 hours. And then the GPT will come back with the output. The first part is the detailed training plan with the detailed learning objectives, the duration located, and the key knowledge point. And the second part will be the recommended courses and related files. We can see the course title, the relevant books, and also the related links directly linked to the knowledge base file. And with the customization developing, we can do more things. So after select the knowledge base, we can select one or more knowledge point in the list. And we input the time period and click generate. We get a full training plan in a minute, and this very, very quick. Okay, the next. Yes, the next feature is question generation. It's also related to the training plan because some training need assessment. So we need to generate a quiz for the trainee. And in this case, the command should include the question amount, the question type, and the topic of question list. So it means trainers are freely to choose the topics and the type of questions. And in this case, we got 5 questions that relate to different knowledge point and in different question type. And the list also gives us the question itself and the answer, also the reference in the document from the knowledge base. And same as the training, with the customization, we will have a better UI and more choice to decide our personalized question list. So we can select the knowledge point from different knowledge base and feel free to add or delete the knowledge point. After that, we can enter the total amount of question and we can let it random allocate to any knowledge point. Or if we want more question about the AI accelerator, for example, we can increase the number to 50%. Or we want more true and false question, we just increase the number to 10 or 20. So it's free to customize based on your own needs to generate a question list in a minute. And also it's performance based. It means AIN can generate content based on your performance. If a trainee has a weak area in certain knowledge point, the next time the quiz will more focus on this point and give more relevant questions. Okay, the third one. Here comes my favorite one, is conversation with assistant. For this one, is to simulate a role-based conversation within different scenarios. And today we got 2 scenarios here, for example. And the scenario is we can feel free to change. We can change the background information, also the characters. So in first scenario, it's a exclusive VIP sales meetings, and we let AI to play a role as a professional sales of system emotion. So we will act as customer to make a conversation with AI. That means we can learn from the response from AI. We can see how they introduce our product and service. So during this process, we can master the sales techniques. And the second scenario is an AI conference. And now it's time to showing what we have learned in the first scenario. We will act as a sales, and AI will play the role as a customer named Helen. So Helen is interested in our AIN products and will ask our question. So our goal is to introduce our products and try to promote it and building a further relationship with Helen. So for this feature, the objective is to improve the sales skill of sales representative and also to increase the conversion rate for sales, because with this feature, sales can practice in every place in any time with no cost. And the next, I will show you how it actually works in the web page. Okay, I'll share the screen. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so we start from the training plan. To start training, we need to have a plan. And we select the corresponding AI emotion sales knowledge base. For example, we enter knowledge base management, and maybe we want a 2 days training or 8 hours training, whatever. We can input a full sentence or the keywords, and the AI will extract our key information to generate output. As we can see, the output comes out very fast, like in 20 seconds, everything's get done. And what we have now is the learning objective. Start with the introduction to knowledge base management, and the second one is setting the knowledge base. So it has its own logic to decide the training plan, not the random objective to combine with. Like we can see, it's 1 hour allocated to the first objective, and next one is 2 hours. Also, the key knowledge point for each learning objective, and the assessment method is like this one is quiz. The next one is a practical set of task, and also the acceptance criteria is 80% on the quiz. So it's very clear, detailed for the whole training plan, tailored to our needs, and also some summary and explanation. And the second part is a table for the recommended course and books, and also the related links linked to our knowledge base. And the learning objective is consistent with the above training plan. If you click the links, it will directly jump to the knowledge base file with upload and highly related to our learning objective. And next, I will show you the quiz. After we got a knowledge base management training plan, we're gonna create some quiz about it. And we feel free to choose the question type and amount, for example, 3 true and false, and 2 short answer question. Yes, we got a final output. The first 3 questions is in true and false type, and it's related to the knowledge base. For example, the file repository update, the seamless reaching capability for multi-knowledge base management. And the last 2 questions is short answer type questions, and it also give us the answer and the reference in the document. And all the output it come out in like 20 seconds. I would say it's very fast. Okay, the third feature, here comes the interesting one. The conversation with assistant. So it's a simulation. Now we have to act as a customer to talk to the sales, and we can use the voice input to convert into text to make this conversation more realistic. And let's start with, hello, I am Lulu. I would like to know more about your product. Could you please help to introduce it? And check. Yes, just send. And that's the response comes from AI. Helen said, could you please specify which product you are referring to? We offer a range of products. Okay, so we continue to say AIN. And here comes the introduction of AIN. And we can continue to describe our needs. I will use the prompt because the details are too long to type and to save time. I just input our request. So we ask Claire, how could it help to streamline? Oh, sorry. Oh, I made a small mistake. Sorry. I forgot to change the model. This was hello. Let's start over again. Yes, here, this time is right. It's a self-introduction for Claire. That's important to change to the correct knowledge base. Okay, how can I assist you today? We continue to say our request. And interesting about your product, how could it help to streamline operation? And you can see the difference. Last time the output is in the paragraph, in the bullet point, and for now it's more like a human being to interact with you. And you can keep the conversation round by round and last very, very long. And you can learning from the professional and polite wording and sales technique showing by AI. Okay, and then for this scenario, it's an AI conference, and we need to act as a sales to talk to the customers. So we will ask a greeting to this customer. And different from the first scenario, when we play the role as a sales, it gives us more information in the response. It gives us an evaluation and suggestion on the third-party perspective to help us improve the wording and the sales techniques. So the evaluation says Claire's opening is friendly and welcoming, but we can target more about specific business needs and challenge. So here is the suggestion. And the third part is the Helen's response. And she asked about how it might help us manage our internal knowledge and improve operational efficiency. Yes, so we have a quick answer to her. We can say our key feature. Yeah, just introduce our key feature. Yes, because it's not that accurate to Helen's response. So the evaluation also point out that we could further personalize the pitch by connecting the feature to the challenge. Okay, and then we can continue. We can finish and push Helen to make a demo. And I cannot predict the response provided by Helen because every time, even you enter the same prompt, the response will be different by GPT. And so that's the meaning of practice. And we learn, we change, and we get better input and output. Okay, that's the demo for these three features. And finally, I want to make a quick wrap up for three highlights. The first is 20 to 30 minutes for indexing. So after you upload the document, after 30 minutes, you can begin to create an own training plan for yourself based on the document you uploaded. And the second one is we have very strong flexibility to customize, so tailor to company's requirement. And the third one is more use cases are also available and applicable with AIN. So more than the training, and we can help to improve the workflow for different departments. it works very good for training, but also more than the training. Okay, let's start the Q&A section.
Thank you, Lulu. That went really smoothly, and you demonstrated very well the range of possibility that we have currently. So there are two questions in the chat. The first one is a question from Jackie on getting information from different documents. So Jackie has seen an earlier version of the system, so I think I understand where she's coming from. So yes, we've improved the indexing a lot at two levels. So now we are indexing both the total document and we're also indexing chunks of the document, which give us the ability to quote paragraph inside the document. So you could see it in some parts and sometime in the answer, or being able, we saw it in the training plan, being able to reference that document and putting the link. This comes from the fact that we have a quite granular indexing of documents and the ability to go and find information there. We keep testing and we keep improving the system. And we want to make it better at processing most of the information. We still have a lot of work to do. We always came out with use cases that we didn't think about. The last demonstration I did on Monday, somebody gave me documents, PDF documents with passwords. Okay, that was the first time we saw it. So now we have in the roadmap to be able to process PDF with password. I don't know what's the next one is going to come out. But generally speaking, I would say 90% of the documents with PDF, with videos, audio, we can process, we can transcribe, and we get to process information pretty accurately. You saw the speed. You saw the speed at which it's generated. The speed doesn't really depend on the number of documents, more on the complexity of the task, and this is where it gets really powerful. We had another question from Vijay on sensitive prompts and sensitive answer. So first, number one, remember if you were there earlier in the demonstration, remember that all of this is running inside our own environment. So this is really all of this, everything you saw, the model, the documents, the index, the question and the answer. All of this happens inside our own private cloud. So no information is being leaked outside of the company. So this is the first step, which is more on security, which is more an infrastructure step. Then the session. So what you saw, what Lulu was doing, she did it in her own session. So that part. We have to record it and we have to secure it and we have to store it also in a secure database to understand what's happening. But then the requirements for security are going to be the same one as your database for your ERP or for your CRM. This information is very sensitive. So sensitive prompt is sensitive information, and it's a new business object. It's a new thing that we need to treat carefully, and it needs to be managed carefully. So because it's a new animal, because it's a new process, doesn't mean we cannot apply the old recipe of segregation of department and data access layer. So I would say the old rules for security, the biggest risk is to ignore them. To say this is new technology, we're gonna open up everything. No, we still need that level of control. We still need that level of data access security, and it needs to be done properly. So we're relying in our own deployment. So in the one you've seen today, we're relying on Azure. So all of this is deployed on Microsoft Azure, and we are really relying on the strong security feature of Azure. So it's single sign-on on Azure. The demonstration you've looked on, for those of you who are a bit more technical, all the documents are shared in a SharePoint. So we also use the security at SharePoint level. And then let's say Lulu is in the training department for sales. If she's not in a training department for engineering, she won't have access to the other model. She will not be able to create a training for technical training, accessing technical documentation. That's a company choice on how the information is being managed and how the information is being segregated. Yeah. So I think these were the only two questions we had.
Yes, Stephen, we've still get 2 more questions.
Oh,
would you like
okay.
to answer?
Sure, I didn't see them. Go ahead. Tell me what they
yes,
are.
for Yu Jin, how do we make the knowledge-based AI better? What else can we do other than only feed in the source document to LLM?
Yeah. So this is a very complex problem that we are tackling with our customers. So the documents must be, of course, good quality, and they must contain accurate information. If you give a document to generative AI and that document has the wrong information, then the LLM will give you the wrong answer. So first, accuracy is extremely important. Those documents must be 100% accurate. And then they need to be written. If it's just a bunch of words, if it's like a very high-level PPT, the way we design our PPT somehow with just bullet points, the LLM will not have a depth that is a depth of analysis, semantic analysis that will give you good results. So accuracy, written really with sentences and a lot of details, that will give you the best results. And last, very important point to design a knowledge base, if you have inconsistency, so if one document says A and another document says the opposite of A, the LLM will have no way to know which one is right and which one is wrong. So we're going back to point 1 somehow, it needs to be accurate, but the worst thing you can put is put different versions of the same documents that say different things. So these are really basic things to design a knowledge base. And what's the second question?
Yes, it comes from Jackie's. What are the steps to take to organize the document before putting them into the knowledge base?
I guess somehow is a similar answer.
Yeah.
Don't put. First of all, don't put too many documents. Try to organize your knowledge base by topic that are very well defined. So if you put all the documents from the company knowledge base, it's not going to be very, very good. So put your documents about sales, your documents about engineering, and maybe you need to have smaller specialized knowledge base on different products, on different types of activity in the company. Okay. Do we have more questions?
Yes. Long question from Journey, and would you like to read? Journey want to turn all the career experience to make a personal AI, include a document, video, and audio, photo.
So audio, yes. Photo, not too much. So actually, behind that question, there's one thing that we start to see in company. They want to be knowledge based on things that are tacit knowledge. Remember when I explained the issue with knowledge management? So they say they're asking a question, but then the answer is not in a document they've been giving us, and that happens quite often. So people don't really understand, don't sometimes get confused between what is already there and what they know because it's in their brain, but it's nowhere written in any of these documents. So the easiest way is to record. So you saw in the demo that Lulu, she spoke to the machine, and the machine did a perfect translation of a retranscription of what she did. It's not 100%, but it's quite accurate now. So the fastest way is just to talk and record that as an audio track. The video part, we can't do much for now on it, but every missing piece, you can record them and upload them as an audio file, and it will be treated as a document, But it has to be, again, there needs to be a story there. There needs to be a consistency in all this information for the knowledge base to work appropriately. Yeah. So we already run on time, long on time, but let's take one last question then.
Okay, I'll choose Lynn's question. What impact do you think the chain of AI will bring to the future of work and organizational creativity?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a very big question. The future of work. I think people have overestimated the impact it will have on the job market. First of all, there was a big scare a year ago that everybody's going to be replaced by AI. Now you won't be replaced by AI. Now I can make that promise. I can pledge that not so many people are going to be replaced by AI. Now some functions are going to change and some job descriptions are going to change because people are going to be more efficient. My hope, but it's my hope, and I don't know if that dream's gonna be true, is that people are gonna be freed from what I call the EMP trap. The EMP trap stands for email, meeting, and PowerPoint. So most people, most knowledge worker in most organizations, they spend 80-90% of their time in meetings, writing emails or reading emails or replying to emails, preparing PowerPoints for meetings, sending emails to confirm the meeting. So all these activities, we can really, really streamline them. And then people can go back. So you usually in your question creativity, they can go back to their core creativity. They can go back to their passion that's led them to choose that activity in the first place. So my hope, but it's just a hope, it's not a prediction, is that we can free up knowledge worker from the EMP trap and they get back to the activity that they fallen in love when they decided to go into marketing, into design, into engineering, into finance, into IT. We've shown you a demo based on our own documentation. So this was a demo of, so first of all, the use cases, they were training use cases. Design a training plan, design a questionnaire, simulate discussion as a sell, as a customer. They were all done for training purposes. So we have other scenarios that we can run. And the second point of this demo, it was based on our own data. We don't want to use proprietary data from our customer, obviously. We also didn't want to use publicly available information because that will not prove the point. So we are using our own sales playbook, our own commercial proposal, our own way of selling our own solution. If you're interested in this solution and you want to run a customized demo, this is actually very, very simple. Just prepare a set of documents, share those documents with us, and we can very easily create another demo, another SharePoint folder. We put your document, we wait for 20-30 minutes, and now everything you've seen is not going to run on our documents, but they're going to run on your documents. So if you're interested into a demo, you can scan the QR code or go to this URL. Send us your email, describe very quickly what you want to test. We're going to get back to you, and we are going to organize a customized demo on your own data so that you can experiment for yourself the efficiency, the speed, and the potential of this technology. So thank you very much. Thank you for staying with us even above the allocated time. You can register to our newsletter by scanning the QR code. Go to our website, systeminmotion.com/newsletter. Don't hesitate to follow us on LinkedIn. Follow up what we do, all our events, and register for our next webinar. Have a great day. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye-bye.